Was it lying that the moment I said something in a fight and you bit your tongue and held back from unleashing on me? Was that a lie? Because you didn't say what you were actually feeling? And especially because sometimes I go like, what are you thinking? You don't answer it all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
Why are you withholding that information, Eden?
Because I'll destroy you.
So you're withholding information because you're trying to protect me, you're trying to protect our marriage, and you're trying to honor our engagement. Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Eden.
And we are Majorly Married.
I am excited for today's episode.
Yes.
We are going to get a little, conflicty with each other, I think.
Controversial?
It might be controversial. Like, we might have some hot takes. I'm assuming, knowing us, there's probably a few hot takes here. But the reason why I'm excited about this one is because we have grabbed 3 different pieces of common marriage advice, and then you and I have not discussed it any further. We're going to talk about whether or not we think that advice is fact, like great advice, you should definitely apply it, or if that advice is like total
Is
myth,
it fact or fiction?
Yeah, fact or fiction. Mm-hmm.
Fact or fiction, marriage advice edition.
That was so much more succinct than me, which is not normally how this goes. Wow, all right. Let's do this.
So what are we going to cover? What's the first one? Not hopping in, but I just want to know, like, what are the 3?
Yeah, so we've got never go to bed angry.
Definitely have heard that one, read that one, seen that one.
And then work on your marriage every day.
Yes, you need to work, in quotes, on your marriage every day.
And then the last one is honesty is the best policy.
Don't know how that one is wrong, but happy to discuss it.
I mean, yeah. I don't know that any of these sound, on the surface, all of these sound like no shit. Like
Exactly.
And I mean, maybe that is where we land. I wrote down some of my thoughts on them.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I think honesty is the best policy is honestly going to be some of the...
Honestly?
Yes. Honestly, I think honesty is the best policy is going to be a really good topic.
Oh, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that one then.
Yeah, because sneak peek, I don't know if it is.
Ooh, what you hiding from me?
Let's find out.
Okay, so we're not going to start with that one though.
No, let's start with never go to bed angry. Okay, so you hear this. I'm just going to start real quick. You hear that advice. What do you immediately think of?
Conflict.
So something is going on.
Yeah, when I think of applying that advice, it is a situation where like maybe you and I got in a fight earlier in the day. Possibly it's like right then in that moment, like going to bed and then somebody just says something offhand and you're like, what the crap are you talking about? And then like, it got to blow up or whatever. But I think a lot of times I'm picturing
A fight,
like a big fight, a big conversation, something that's going to take hours and hours to work through.
That's how I basically saw it as well. Is there is some conflict, and this advice is like maybe not solve it, but at least leave it in a really good spot.
Yeah, so
like leave it in a spot where you both are satisfied and not angry at the other person.
And I think the way I always interpreted that advice is it doesn't matter the hour, like you keep working through together as a couple.
Okay, hold on. So you keep working until it is resolved, or simply you're not angry?
I think until you as a couple, the way I interpreted it, right? This is not my opinion right now.
Sure.
The way I always interpreted that advice is you work through it as a couple until you are in a place where you are okay going to bed. And maybe it's a long-ish, I don't know, like there's some stuff that's not going to be resolved overnight, for sure. But you're kind of like, okay, we're not fighting anymore. It's not the quickly like slamming off the lights, rolling over and being like, F you,
fine.
as essentially the attitude. Or like...
But it is not we're gonna put this thing to bed, like end the discussion, as in like solve the issue.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I agree with that.
So we got our definition set?
Yeah. Okay. Do you have just an overall agree, disagree?
Yeah, I think that's how we should always start these. Agree,
Okay.
disagree. Also, though, we're going to have nuance. Just like, to be fair, if you're like watching this, you'll probably like see us like thinking a lot. And if you're just listening, like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, like you may hate my answers to that overall. I am basically a centrist. Just
You're so annoying with that. I'm like, give me a hot take, and you're like, well, I mean, here could be a hot take, but I don't know.
my answer, it depends.
It always depends.
Of course, it always depends.
I know, which is okay.
The world is not black and white, Eden. The world is different shades of gray. So, agree or disagree. Never go to bed angry.
Agree-ish.
Okay, I mean, okay, you can't give me shit for saying it depends.
Well, I could have said disagree-ish. I said agree-ish.
Agree-ish then.
Right.
I
So you lean more in the direction of agree.
I'm like 75% agree.
Okay, I feel like I'm similar, but I think we should.
Let's jump into some points.
Yes, like why?
What's the first point that you wrote down?
I think the reason why it's like nuanced here and you say agree-ish for me is because it's like, is it more important to have rested hearts and minds to have this conversation? Or is it more important to have an honest live response when it's like emotions are fresh and raw and the situation's actively happening? Personally, for me, if I give myself, I have two different sides, but I'm a people pleaser, right?
Yep.
So 9 times out of 10, I am going to edit myself before things come out of my mouth. And if I give myself even more time, sometimes I can like polish that even further and I can diffuse my own anger and frustration even more. Every once in a while it reverses and I still am a people pleaser, but it's like the more time I give it, the more I'm like, wait, actually, I said I was fine, but I'm not fine. So I think what I'm seeing though is like, is it better to give your body and your mind a chance to rest and be like, okay, so this came up. I can't really deal with this right now. I can't answer this question fully. It's bigger than that. I'm really angry at you, but like I don't have the emotional bandwidth to fight with you right now because if I do, I'm gonna say stuff that ought not be said. Like that type of thing where it's like I should just like cool off, get good sleep, and we can have a better conversation tomorrow and I might be able to better fight.
Yeah.
But also like for me personally, my preference is to just fight it out. I mean, you know this, I think. Like
I had written that down.
We don't have a ton of fights, but when we do fight, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop the fight in the middle.
Yeah. So I know that about you. So I jotted down a couple points and like agree. Why do I agree? Never go to bed angry. I know that you need a verbal process. And I think knowing your partner is a very valuable aspect to any conflict, knowing their emotional state. And I know that you like to verbally process. So I'm more inclined to verbally process and not go to bed angry. That's one point.
Does that help you though?
No. Not particularly. I put some points for disagree. We'll get to that. Other points on agree. I put tension might be high. I don't think tension is good if you let it manifest for too long. So tension might be really high in this fight, and I am equating here tension and anger.
Okay.
But I think that you probably shouldn't leave high tension because it can be misinterpreted. And then the last thing I wrote is don't leave it when there might be a major misunderstanding. So why, you need to understand the why. Why are you angry? Why am I angry? Do we both understand what the other person's point of view is? Or if there's a major misunderstanding and I just roll over and go to sleep, that can expand based off of a faulty assumption.
It reminds me of I think the way that our fights actually most commonly occur, and this is me totally throwing myself under the bus here, where we'll have a late night conversation where I am starting to feel tension, I'm starting to feel frustration, you're just simply feeling sleepy. And it's not that you're emotionally oblivious to what's going on. Sometimes more so.
You're going to love why I disagree with this.
No. But then like you'll fall asleep in the middle of me processing. And now we're fighting.
I don't know we're fighting.
The fight has begun as soon as you fall asleep.
I know you may have some other points, but I put why I disagree with never go to bed angry. Personally, I am I don't know the word for it. You can tell me the word. Like, I process alone a bit better. I am a person...
Internal processor?
Yeah, I'm an internal processor rather than a verbal processor. So, going away for an hour, I can, like, think it through a bit more, maybe come back with, my thoughts gathered. So, I don't necessarily have time to, just sit there and process everything for an hour and then come back. And then I put the other point for disagree. I put, look, I'm tired sometimes. Honestly, like, sometimes we're discussing something and there might be now a little bit of tension and it's 11:45, 12, 1 a.m. And like, I'm tired. And yes, there might be tension starting, or maybe I said something that was misinterpreted by either me mentioning it or, I said something wrong. And then I fall asleep. I'm just literally tired.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, can we actually have a truly grown up, good adult conversation if we're both exhausted? And that's where it's like, well, don't go to bed. It's like, are we having the most productive conversation?
So I hear what you're saying, and in some ways I do agree with some of your points. Like, I do think having the conversation when you're both able to have the conversation is a good thing. To me, I struggle with honestly emoting. I'm really good at intellectualizing what I'm thinking and feeling. And so if I, quote unquote, go to bed angry, the next day I will probably have been like, this is what I think, this is what I feel. And instead of actually feeling it and actually giving you my raw, honest heart and being emotionally intimate with you in that way, I will choose intellectual intimacy with you instead. And I will connect with you here instead of like giving you my heart actually.
So the anger will technically still be festering inside, essentially.
And I might not even know it's festering. Like these are things I've learned in therapy.
Eden, how am I supposed to be a good husband if you don't even know that you're angry?
No, but that's part of it. So I think for me, well, yes, waiting until I've had rest and I've had time to maybe think about it or calm down or whatever, I might not actually honestly communicate with you the next day. I won't honestly communicate with you the next day. I will do my best, but it will definitely be diluted, I would say, and possibly swept under the rug for me. So that was kind of my next point, is like the difference between gathering thoughts, like you're saying, like 11 p.m., you can't exactly walk away and be like, okay, so I can't even think about what a good fight example would be, but Eden says everything I do is like wrong when it comes to raising our daughter, would be a fight, right?
Wow, yeah.
I did not just throw that out there. Like, I'm not saying that statement, but I'm like, I think that would be like a fight. If I said that to you at 11 p.m., you would be like, fighting words, right?
Yeah.
And you at 11 p.m. would be like, I can't have this conversation right now, because you would need to like internally process, think, feel. You would need to go away for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think that would be ideal. I will say, since we've gotten together, I've learned to verbal process a lot better.
But for me, if I brought it up at 11, it's because I finally felt brave enough to bring it up. I'm not typically just like reactionary fighting. Like I bring it up at the wrong time. Like that's fair to be like,
It's a
well,
timing
stop
issue,
bringing
even.
it up at 11. But it's like when things have finally calmed down and we're quiet. And I made this joke a long time ago. The context of this is so weird, but I made this joke with my dad a long time ago because I was having like a sleepover with friends, and he came downstairs because we were in the basement, and we were like still talking. And it was late at night, and he was like, "Aiden, go to bed," and I was like, or he said something like, "Go to bed," or like, "Why are you not asleep?" And I was like, "Well, when you're lying in bed and the lights are off, things happen." That can have like a very like sexual connotation, which is not what I was talking about, but. I meant like you start talking, and that's still true for me at this point. Like when I'm lying in bed and the lights are off, I'm like, okay, now I feel safe enough to say the big scary thing. So it's hard for me to do that at 10 a.m. the next day.
That's fair. When you got life going on, maybe I'm at work, you're helping with the baby, or vice versa, or whatever.
So sometimes it feels easier for me to honestly tell you what's going on at 11 o'clock at night instead of like we'll eventually get to that conversation and we keep kicking the can down the road, and by the time we actually talk about it, maybe I've built up more resentment, or maybe I have gotten over it, but I haven't been able to let you in on the fact that something was difficult.
Yeah, I think everything we're discussing, it ties into one of the points that I wrote down. Actually, I think two of them, which is one, you have to be aware of your partner's emotional state. And then two, you have to be aware of your partner's communication style and processing style, I guess. It is where I don't always, you drop a bomb at 11 p.m. I am not always saying, I don't get up and walk out of the room. Like,
right.
I need to go process it, and wow, like.
No, you don't. I'll let you finish your point because I just wanted to interject. Finish your point.
I say I understand that you need to talk. And so I would say a majority of the time we end up having a conversation at that time. There are times where I'm too tired, and maybe that's when I fall asleep and then anger mounts. But I know your communication style. I know your emotional state. If you say something like that, you are being vulnerable, you're scared, you're saying that you're fearful of something, or
right.
You need to have this conversation for some reason, and I want to help and be there for that.
And I have learned your communication style and your processing style as well. What I was going to interject with at the time, and I'm glad I didn't because you did articulate your thought very well, was that I've learned, just like your just like you respect my processing, I have come to respect yours more too. I, by default, tend to be like a little judgy when someone's not verbally processing because I'm afraid they're hiding something. And so when we would have these initial like tiny conflicts, more like deep conversations, where you're starting to explore hard things that can turn into tension and whatever, and you wouldn't immediately respond back to me, I, in my head, always was like, he hates me. He like really negative thoughts. And it took me a couple years into our relationship and in our marriage to realize that anytime I actually chose to give you space and let you process for a couple hours or for a day, every time you came back.
Couple weeks?
I mean, I'm trying to think of an instance where it was a couple weeks. I mean, like, honestly, like, at the moment, I'm giving you, like, a year to process some things.
Yeah.
But
you're like, well, both of us are saying, hey, let's get through this, like, true infant stage before we make any decisions on having a second kid.
Yeah.
So you're giving me some time.
I'm giving you, like, a year to process. But what I've learned is that you do come back to me, and you come back to me and having much better conversation than if I try to push you to talk when you're not ready.
Yeah.
So even though I'm ready and I want to talk, I think I've started to learn that maybe the middle of the road for our relationship is I get to share something as it comes up. I get to choose to be raw, honest, real, and say, hey, this is on my heart. I don't know how you feel about it, but like I just have to be real with you. And you create a level of safety
Yep.
And you say, I hear you. I have thoughts on that. It's a little too late for me to process them right now. My brain is fried. Can we talk tomorrow?
So, yeah, it's one of the strategies that I actually wrote down, which is if you are in a conflict, let's just say at bedtime, utilize, we got it from How I Met Your Mother, but utilize the pause strategy, but utilize it strategically, set expectations, and explain why. So as you, in the example that you just gave, hey, I am a little too tired to have this conversation right now. Do you mind if we pick this up tomorrow? And make sure that everyone is in a good emotional state. So if, again, I see you are really angry, have the conversation until, some tension has subsided, and then go, do you mind if we pause here and pick this up another time?
Remind me, because I think I remember correctly, because I want to reference if it's true. The pause episode, is that Marshall and Lily about to break up when they were dating?
Well, they were fighting. It's any fight. So
right. I'm asking, was that what was happening in that episode? Do you remember?
I think so, because at the end they're like, you can't pause this.
Yes. So that's what I wanted to say. That it is okay to check and see they were pausing because they wanted to enjoy things that were happening or whatever, and then pause turned into avoidance rather than pausing because they wanted to love each other better, or pause because they wanted to communicate better. It was pause because I don't want to deal with the ramifications of this conversation.
Yeah.
That version of don't go to bed angry, I think, is toxic.
Yes.
I think that's dangerous
agree.
to a relationship. If you're always sorry, gotta sleep, got work in the morning, sorry, got a big project I'm working on, sorry, the baby needs me, and it just keeps rolling, that is resentment. That is anger. That is feeling unloved and unheard.
Yeah, and that's why I added the word strategically when I was writing it down. I was like, do not overuse the pause strategy, because it is useful, but it can be abused and overused.
Yeah. So let's summarize this. What is your in a sentence? Is the advice don't go to bed angry good advice?
Yes. I think overall, yes, it is good advice as long as it has been discussed beforehand.
Okay.
What everybody needs.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, yes, don't go to bed angry. Good advice. But respect your partner and love them well. And if they can't have that conversation right then, be fair to them.
Yeah.
Don't put them in a prison of your own emotional needs right there.
I agree.
Cool. All right. One down.
Yeah. If you are enjoying this conversation, we would love if you would go ahead and subscribe and follow.
Oh, yeah.
For more.
Yeah.
Leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Do you guys agree? Never go to bed angry? Would love to know.
Yeah. And to be very fair, I think some of our favorite things we've ever done on the podcast has been responding to questions that we've received from some of the people who are watching. So if you're hey, there's advice that I've gotten and I'm not sure if it's good advice or not,
let us know.
Definitely let us know. We'd love to talk about it and just kind of give our less than perfect professional thoughts. Because then you could hear it and disagree with it and be they're crazy. But then you know how you feel.
Exactly. Okay. So the next one is you need to work on your marriage every day. Do you agree?
No.
Why not? Okay. Sorry. I will answer.
Okay.
No. Pretty hard disagree.
Really? It's a hard disagree for you?
Yeah.
I thought you were kind of... I don't know why I thought you were going to agree, but I did.
I'll give my my centrist point of view. I think, yes, there is aspects of work that might need to be done every day. But overall, I don't think you should have to work on your marriage every day for the entire life of the marriage.
Yeah, I did write that down, that I was like, I think there are seasons
Exactly.
where, yes, you're going to need to put some serious work into your marriage every day.
Okay, definition. When we say work, what is work on your marriage?
Oh, that's
is
such
it,
a good question.
Is it a action? Is it a phone message? Like, I'm going to text you. Like, I have to, like, consciously think about doing something actively every day. So having a deep discussion, sending a text message, showing you romance in some way, is it intentionally choosing to take an action? Or is it, I am always actively doing something that I don't necessarily want to do? Like, I am working.
I was going to say, that's how I interpreted it. I don't think that's the intent behind the message, but I think that's what you can walk away with. When someone says work on your marriage every day.
What if you change the word work to effort? Like, put in effort. Like, you need to put in effort on your marriage every day. Do you still disagree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I disagree as well. Yeah, so I just want to make sure we understood or we defined what work is, because ultimately, super broad answer, I don't think you actually need to put in a ton of effort and work really hard every single day. So what's the first point that you really had after we've defined what work means?
Yeah, okay, so marriage, you often hear marriage talked about as though it's hard work, and it is effort put into building a happy, good, healthy relationship. Sure.
For a long period of time.
Yes, there are going to be seasons and times when it is going to be more challenging than fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should major on the fun and the joy and... Majorly. And if I focus too much on, like, I'm putting in work, I have to take care of my relationship today. What am I supposed to do to take care of my relationship, to build my relationship, to take care of Michael, instead of actually just being with you? I don't think it's necessarily a bad or wrong thing to be like, you went off and played video games. I, decided to binge Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because it came out, and that can look like we didn't take care of our marriage that day, because maybe even, like, I don't know, we're going through something or whatever.
Yeah.
That pressure to be like, well, marriage first, I think could make me feel really guilty for actually doing something that is pretty normal and okay in a relationship, to also take care of yourself.
Yeah. Some of the major points I put for disagreeing, I put boring days exist and are okay. It is okay, like you just mentioned, to have those days where, especially before we had a child, we may literally wake up, go and do our own thing, and come back and go to sleep. And I didn't put work into my marriage that day.
So I think what I can relate to and understand, though, is there are still times when I'm being real now. I don't even know. I don't know that I've said this to you yet. We're going to okay. So there are times when I miss the level of work that you put into pursuing me when we were dating. When I'm like, okay, so he got me, and you tell me all the time how much you love me and how beautiful I am. You give me words of affection and encouragement and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But the gestures and stuff that made me feel so special, I miss those sometimes. So if that's the definition of putting in work.
Do you need it every single day for the rest of our marriage?
No. The answer is just no. I don't need it every day for the rest of our marriage.
Well, I had to think on that one.
No, but what I was going to say is, is the point of this advice not, you got to grind at your marriage every day, hustle culture, but marriage version? Is that what they're saying? Or are they saying you need to invest in your marriage every day?
But again, you'd have to define invest in what way. invest in effort, time, communication.
Well, because
that you have to do it every single day.
I think a version of investment would be choosing to take some time to like take care of yourself is a way of being like, the way for me to show up best in my marriage is for me to take care of myself today. Like I need some me time.
Sure, I feel like that's a cheap loophole. Then like yes, every action I take while married technically is working on marriage.
I agree. I think, but that can be the framing sometimes. Is like, and then when you're like, oh, I've been neglecting my marriage. Like, I'm gonna take care. I don't know. I think when I hear the advice, I tend to think of the hustle.
Hey, Eden, I need 4 weeks away from you. I'm working on our marriage. All right. Hey, I need the me time for our marriage.
Bullshit.
So, to be fair, I think people do that. That is separation.
And it does help some marriages.
Some people come back together and have a long, loving marriage.
Yes.
So I'm not actually knocking that, but I think my fear is the way that I interpreted it. I was just thinking that feels like a little bit of a loophole that potentially can be abused by selfish people. Maybe the 4 weeks I want to take away from our marriage, it's for me. Is it really for my marriage, or do I just want to, chill and play video games for 4 weeks straight? And I'm doing it selfishly because I'm putting the responsibility of the house, the baby, everything on you.
And I do think as our marriage has evolved over time, I've seen different versions of putting in work. So what I was talking about when I was like, I miss the level of work maybe that you put in was you would text me every single morning with like a video message telling me good morning.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to text me every morning with a video message. I get it. I'm right next to you. You're like, good morning.
I give you a live video message every single day.
But it's not the same thing. And so I think part of what happens in marriage is you start like communicating those things and be like, oh, this is what working on my marriage looks like now.
Yes.
I don't know. Did that feel like working on our relationship back then, or did that just feel like naturally what you wanted to do?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think naturally when people are dating, there is typically more effort put in general. And so, yes, I think there was a level of effort. One of the reasons I put disagree, and I'm getting to this because it relates, is I did put habit building happens and can become second nature. Typically, I think people assume that in the negative way. I assume that in the positive way as well. Like, if I go on a work trip, I am probably going to call you every day because that's just going to be habit. I talk to you every day. I'm going to still want to talk to you every day.
Right.
And so is that work? No, it's just a habit at some point. Me telling you I love you, like I mean it every single time, but do I have to actively like remember to say I love you? No, it's just habit that's been built.
Or like the rhythm and cadence we have of taking care of the house, which is a way of taking care of each other, and you being like, oh, you're going to put the baby to bed, like I'll clean the dishes and whatever, is a form of working on our marriage, but it's just turned into habit and ritual at this point.
Exactly. And the last reason I disagreed was I just put you should trust your partner. And what I mean is if there is a day where maybe we're apart or it doesn't feel like we made the connection, like, oh, today felt off. Was it because we didn't put in work? No. I trust that whatever it is, we're going to reconnect tomorrow. That we will put in the effort when the effort is needed. And it is not needed every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you had any other points, but I did also put a section like when you should. I think you mentioned at the beginning, there are seasons. I put new season. Sometimes there are seasons that you are going to have to put in work every day.
And maybe that's what I was accidentally getting to when I was talking about like missing those gestures now. There's a good shot, like if I'm sitting here being honest with myself, I think it's like having had a baby and feeling less like
ourselves. We aren't a couple anymore.
Yeah. So I think there's the part of me then that misses those elements. I didn't feel that way as much, 6 months ago when you were being extra attentive and I was, really pregnant. And
Yeah.
so I think that's actually a really good example of the seasons in a relationship where it's
Yep.
not just seasons of hardship where you're like, oh, we're going through crap and like we're distanced from one another and, our marriage is right on the brink. We got to start putting in the work.
Yeah.
It's also just when things evolve and shift in the relationship and it's, okay, this is a new season. How do we
Come
strengthen our
together
marriage?
to
And,
build,
Yeah.
build up our marriage. I think difficult times, that's another time when you should potentially work on your marriage every single day, is during difficult times. I think that can be considered a season. I put, even if it's only a couple days long, if a difficult time is only 3 days long, during all 3 of those days, you should probably put in some effort and some work on your marriage to resolve the difficult times.
I would love to, at some point, talk with you longer, and maybe we could do it as an episode on what are some examples of working on how do you work on your marriage?
Yeah.
Because I think that is a longer conversation than what we can really get into, and I feel like we're missing some really valuable stuff on this to help flesh out what we're really trying to say. I think we're reading each other's minds right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. The last time I think you should is if a promise is made. So my example was if I said, I will call you every day this week, or I will call you every day on my work trip. I've made a promise. Now, maybe it's second nature, maybe it's not. I'm maybe going to put a Google Calendar reminder because I don't want to forget. I want to give you a call, and even if it's midnight in California, I'm going to give you a quick call and just say, hey, sorry it's late, I love you. Hope you had a good night. Because I made a promise, and I got to put in that effort for the promise that I made.
Yeah.
Last point that I had is just in general, couples establish boundaries and needs. We have to be in complete alignment so we have to reestablish occasionally what our boundaries and needs are to determine how much work we need to put in. So if you set boundaries, hey, I would like it if you spent more, or I would like it if you pursued me more. Maybe that's not a boundary, but yeah, or that's a need. So I put boundaries and needs. So if we reestablish that, hey, I don't want you doing X thing, and a need of mine is I need you to pursue me more. We are entering, potentially we can just call it a new season, but during those new boundaries and needs, I'm probably gonna have to put in some work, and vice versa. If I say, I'm really gonna need some help with this stressful time at work or something, you may need to put in work every day for our marriage.
Yeah, you're right.
Overall, what's your summarized thought on
work on your marriage every day?
You need to work on your marriage every day.
My overall thought is you should care about your marriage every day. That does not necessarily mean it feels like work.
It may not translate to actual work.
Yep.
I agree.
Awesome. Okay. So we have hit never go to bed angry. We have hit work on your marriage every day. Last one is honesty is the best policy, which seems so straightforward.
Yeah. No, you should be lied to every single day of our marriage. I'm just kidding. Right?
I think that's what's hard about this, phrasing of this advice, because you just sound like a dick if you're like, no, I disagree.
I disagree. I don't think I should be honest with you. It immediately puts suspect on me.
Right.
Or suspicion that, wait, is everything you're telling me a lie?
So what do you think? Honesty is the best policy?
No.
Just straight up no.
Okay, with nuance. So I put here, I agree with definition. So can we define first?
Go ahead.
this one might be a dumb thing to say, but can we define honesty? And I put in parentheses when. And what I mean by that is there honesty in every action I take, in every question that is asked by the other person? Should there be honesty in every thought? Is an omission dishonesty? If I had a thought right now, do I need to tell you that thought? Am I lying to you if I have a thought, I don't say it, and then it passes?
Okay, well, there's honesty, and then there's like just oversharing. I don't need to know your every single thought and need and desire as it like passes through your head, but if you're withholding something from me.
Well, let's go back to never go to bed angry. You said, I will put my emotional side down and I will intellectualize the conversation. Is it a lie that you are not telling me you are angry?
So that's okay. Honesty is the best policy. I agree. Pretty hard. Like, I don't really need to put a ton of like disclaimers on that. Like, I tend to agree with that.
What if
because I do feel like in those moments when I intellectualize it and come back to you and I'm like, well, this is how I think I was feeling, and I wasn't actually emotionally honest and raw at that time with you, I do feel like I was not honest. And I feel like that was, I want you to know me. I want you to love me. I want you to hold all parts of me and see me fully and love me fully. And if I'm withholding stuff, like...
Do you trust that when I withhold potentially some information, I am doing it for the right purpose? Is there ever a right purpose? So I'm going to give you an example. I think we talked about this in the Insecurities and Sex episode, which is you seemingly have a morbid curiosity with my past sexually. I will not answer questions sometimes.
Yeah, you get real dodgy, and I don't know, man.
Am I lying, or am I withholding it because it doesn't matter? It will potentially just hurt you.
Why would it hurt me? Is it because she was prettier?
No.
See, but that's what I think that's what ends up happening for me when you're saying like, well, it's not relevant. And I'm like, it's relevant because I'm asking it.
Okay, but I will give you pretty much all of the information. I just may leave out like a very specific detail. You don't need to know exactly what position I was in. It's not helpful information. So is me, for example, summarizing a story. I'm omitting little tiny details.
Okay, so let's clarify something then. We were using an example of initially like me with the intellectual honesty and emotional honesty and stuff where I was like possibly like not giving you the full picture of my emotions. What you just shared as an example was omission, as you're sharing something voluntarily.
Yeah.
Versus when asked a direct question, do you need to be honest then?
Yeah, so I do want to take a step back. I ultimately agree with honesty.
I know you do.
No, I know. I want to clarify. I ultimately agree.
You're not like, you guys should lie your butts off.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I think there is an element of protecting your partner. And there might be omission to a question, even a direct question, to ultimately not hurt your partner and actually strengthen your marriage. I think the classic example, it's maybe not a great one because I don't necessarily agree with it, but the classic example is like, do I look fat in these jeans? If I just were to go, yep, you look like a fucking whale.
I'd want you to say that to me.
Not everybody would actually want that answer. But there is a way to then phrase that of, you know, babe, I don't actually think those jeans are the best jeans for you. They accentuate stuff in the wrong way. I think you should not buy those jeans.
And I would just be like, are you just saying I look like a fucking whale?
No, it's not that I think you look like a whale. It's
You
that.
just rephrased it. I see.
But that's the point. Is it would be hurtful to a lot of people. Maybe not to you. It would be hurtful to a lot of people if I said, "Yeah, you look like a whale."
It's not that it wouldn't hurt. It's that I would at least know what you actually thought, and then
I am telling you what I actually think because I don't ultimately think you look like a whale. It is those jeans don't actually fit in the right way.
I get what you're saying. So here's what I wrote down. I do agree with honesty being the best policy. My little asterisk next to it was honesty with the intent of kindness. So, kind of to your points of what you've been saying, there is a type of honesty that is self-serving, and then there's a type of honesty that is about building relationship, building trust, and loving the other person well. So, what you are saying is, you want to be honest with your spouse, but do it for their benefit, not just for your own.
Yeah, I think it is the question I would ask is, are you honoring your partner, your marriage, your vows, with whatever you might be withholding? And I think one of the reasons I say agree with definition is actually something you said to me before, which is if you knew every thought in my head, everything that if I had said everything I want to say sometimes when, I'm angry, I would destroy you, or like it would.
Oh, when I say that to you, like if I actually said everything in my head, I would like emotionally destroy you.
Stuff like that, or like when I'm going back to the point when you said that you'll come back and intellectualize stuff. It is, yes, you'll intellectualize stuff, but sometimes you'll come back and you're now a more level head, and we can have a more productive conversation. Was it lying that the moment I said like whatever, something in a fight, and you bit your tongue and held back from unleashing on me?
Yeah.
Was that a lie? Because you didn't say what you were actually feeling? And especially because sometimes I go like, what are you thinking? You don't answer it all the time when I say, what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, you're right.
Why are you withholding that information, Eden?
Because I'll destroy you.
So you're withholding information because you are trying to protect our marriage. You're trying to protect me, you're trying to protect our marriage, and you're trying to honor our engagement.
Okay, so I agree with you. We're on the same page there. Assuming, let's say, in that situation where maybe I'm sitting there with an emotionally loaded gun, and you know that I'm withholding something, I'm holding something back, I'm choosing not to say something because I love you, I'm not going to say what's going on in my head.
For sure.
Do you think it would be valuable for me in a less heated moment, maybe after things have dissipated and I no longer have the emotionally loaded gun, but I have now, removed the bullets.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the chamber, and I now show you the bullets. Is that ever valid? To be like, this is kind of what I was thinking and feeling. This is what I've been holding on to, and I don't want to fire them off at you. I just want to be honest with you about what's been going on. Is there a version where you still, as a partner, need to disclose those things that you have going on in your head and heart? You just need to figure out how to say it in a way that serves your marriage. Because I think that's what I mean by honesty is the best quality. It's not that you should just fire off every single thing that pops in your head. No, that would be so hurtful. But I do think everything you think needs to be somehow brought to light.
So it needs to be filtered in some way.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess. Or just applied in a better moment. But it's still ultimately honest.
I think we're ultimately circling the same point, which is you should always be on the same page with your partner. Your partner should know where you are coming from in a discussion, fight. In all of those instances, there is maybe the way that the information is portrayed or, given may need to be filtered, but ultimately it is still the truth that is coming out.
I think the other piece for me, that I had written down about why I think I held a slightly different view than you, just like looking at the situation, is I like the thought of there being space for grace and acceptance in a relationship, even with the messy, ugly, raw things that that you would never say or share with someone else. So you saying, you look ridiculous in those jeans, that idea is a fairly benign, neutral version of it. But
by the way, you look great in pretty much all jeans.
Thank you. You have told me before that I do not look good in other things. So that was very kind of you. And I'm glad you said that for everybody on the internet. But what I love about you is that you have been able to say some of those other things. You also, in much deeper areas of my life, have been able to say really hard things to me. And I have been able to say really hard things to you about myself. And
about me?
Yeah. And because I've chosen to be very vulnerable and very honest about things that I didn't have to be honest with you about.
Yep.
I could have kept it to myself. I have found a greater level of intimacy, love, grace, and acceptance than I ever would have had I just chosen, like, you know what, I don't know that I need to share this. I don't know that it's going to help our marriage. You know details that you didn't need to know. And maybe you would have been like, I didn't even want to know them.
Sure.
But now I shared it with you. You chose to respond with love and grace. We are stronger and better for it, even though it was uncomfortable and maybe miserable. And you're kind of like, I'd rather just be like, la, 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 I don't know.
Yeah.
But you've chosen not to do that.
Yes. And I think, to maybe summarize, I'll say during this conversation, I would say I lean more towards the honesty is the best policy. I think I was like 80%, 75-80% in the honesty. I think it was those edge cases that I was truly hesitant to be like, no, every single thought and response that may pop into my head, it should not be said. I think every human experiences that. You will have a random thought, a random thing that you get filtered, like you filter.
Yeah. I think I do tend to be a little more radically honest than you, though.
Sure.
Not that you're you're not deceptive.
But that might just be a personality thing as well. But the reason I'm maybe 90% now instead of 75% is I do ultimately agree that we have been very honest about pretty much everything in our relationship. And
I just don't know what positions you did it in.
In times, same ones as you. In times that I didn't know I didn't know details would enhance our marriage, it did. It goes, and I think I'm going back to advice that we had for insecurities in sex. There are people that might be out there right now saying like, hey, my husband asked if I want to have sex with the lights on, and I say no. I really want to, but I'm like hesitant. I'm scared. You're not being honest. So being honest, saying yes might lead to better connection with your partner, might lead to better sex.
Yeah.
So sometimes taking that leap phrased in the right way can really be helpful. And I think that's where I went to the point that I wanted to stress, which is that asking that question, like, are you honoring your partner, your marriage, and your vows? We made vows to be honest with each other. So we're going to be honest with each other whenever we can. But the way that I honor you, me, and our marriage is by phrasing it in the correct way, to make sure that what I say will be truthful, but it's not going to destroy you or hurt you for an unnecessary reason.
Yeah. I want my honesty to be a blessing and a gift to you, not a weapon used against our relationship.
I like that. It's not a weapon. Yeah.
Yeah. So we hit 3 of the big pieces of advice we've received.
So we should just lie constantly. That's what we That's what we like came to.
Yeah, you're gonna lie all the time.
We're gonna lie about going to bed happy, and then we're never gonna work on our marriage.
Never. Just gonna let things just skate by.
Yeah.
And have the best marriage ever.
Yeah.
No. I think overall, this is good advice. It's cliched advice for a reason.
I think there's nuance.
And if you feel like it's not applicable to your marriage at any given point, like you're not crazy. You know your marriage. You know the advice. Apply it wisely. And if you've got questions about whether or not that actually was smart, the decision you're making, maybe you're sitting there like, I've done it before, where I processed with friends and been like, should I tell my husband this? That's the whole point of another episode we did about building your village. Have those people who will help you figure out whether or not whether or not these pieces of advice are applicable and good for your marriage at that time, or if maybe you should consider that this is a little bit of an edge case, like you said.
Yeah.
And that advice doesn't fit the situation.
Yeah. Let us know. What do you think? Should you go to bed angry? Should you work on your marriage every single day? And is honesty the best policy? Let us know down in the comments. Subscribe. Follow us for more. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.